coming on through. UCAM don't want to let this one go down. 4,000 on the objective as Mrs. Premier need to watch Hades on the fight. Damage going through. It's a huge engage as Will I picks up the first kill of the fight, but then they're forced to back away. And Terra pulls and Aggressino playing Bowser, getting so much work done. Mrs. Premier have done it, surely. The Elder Dragon goes down. The teleports come through. The LFL, they stay strong.
He's gonna flash in and he steals the Baron!
One of the quickest games in competitive history.
Oh God! How did that connect my engine? Shockwave on turn 4! Double kill for him on the Ziggs! That was disgusting!
Karmine Corp have done it as EU Masters champions.
Hello and welcome to the Amazon EU Masters. I'll be your play-by-play for the first 3 games of the day. My name's Medic and I'm joined by the indubitably wonderful Orcs.
One intro, thank you. Yeah, we got an exciting day, had an exciting last week as well, so just hyped to get stuck into it because, I mean, I guess this week we find out who's going through.
That is exactly what we find out this week.
That's the whole point. That's how tournaments work.
Yeah, we've got 4 days and 4 groups to wrap up. Today we'll be starting off with Group D, but before we do, let's have a look back at how things concluded on Thursday. It was the star-studded day of League of Legends on Thursday. Of course, we are still working our way through the first round robin of the groups. Movistar Riders, after having a poor start to the game, were still able to keep undefeated Orcs.
Yeah, and I think, obviously, we've seen the LFL remain undefeated, but Movistar definitely putting up their own challenge, showing that the Super League has got some pretty solid rosters. And we also saw Tricked manage to pick up their first win against Penta. Both teams went into this one with no wins on the board, and it was Tricked who were able to pull out ahead and, importantly, get themselves on the board.
I mean, it's obviously being, an NLC caster and me having started my roots in the NLC or the UK League as it was back in the day. It's great to see Trick start to pick up some wins alongside them. Of course, Fnatic Rising picking up their 2 wins in the first round robin. And I think in some of these other groups, we're going to see a very close battle for that first spot, especially in Group C as well, where you've got Big, Fnatic, and Illumina all sitting at 2 and 1.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that there's still so much to sort of work out at this point. Obviously, in most of the groups, there's that even divide. We have first, second, third, fourth. But as you said, Group C, things still really tight. And Fnatic Rising getting a critical win here just to keep themselves in the race.
And alongside them, we saw great performances out of all of our other teams as well. There's something special about watching an Aurelia pop off. Obviously, Big had a great performance, but there's just watching Aurelia really start to shine and to show up in the meta again is quite an enjoyable experience for me, especially as a play-by-play.
Unless you're playing against her, then it is not enjoyable at all.
That's why I ban her in all my solo queue games, man.
Respectable decision, honestly, because the Federelia is just something else. We also saw Mistress Premier against UCAM. Potential for that to be a close one, right? We've talked about how the Super League have had a pretty solid performance overall, but the LFL has remained strong and are still undefeated in the group stage going into their second week.
Yes, 6-0 is a very impressive performance by the LFL all round. And let's have a look at how they do stand in the groups right now. As I said earlier, today we'll be looking at Group D specifically, but we have that sort of divide in A and B. Misfits Premier and Movistar Riders both undefeated at that 3-0. And then Group C is kind of a little bit more up in the air here, Orcs.
Yeah, I mean, all those teams at 2-1 means things really could go in any direction. There is still teams at 0-3 who can make it through, but it's kind of at the point where if you lose another game at this point, you're essentially pretty much out. There is obviously sort of just a very difficult scenario in which you can get through, but it's basically if you lose at 0-3, you're gone, right? So you need to start picking up those wins, and we are going to be honing in more on Group D, and Matchco is the team who need to start getting wins on the board, but we also have the likes of Mouseport still trying to fight for that second spot in the group.
Yeah, especially considering game one is Karmine Corp up against Giants. It's going to be a very interesting day to watch develop because it's very possible Karmine Corp will lock a spot in the quarterfinals in the first game if they beat Giants. I think in fact they would lock first position in the group as well. So they would be well and clear over everyone else. And then Matchco playing up against Mouse. If Matchco lose that and Karmine Corp have already won, then Matchco are out of the running and it's down to a two-horse race between Mouse and Giants for that second spot.
Yeah, so I mean, we're going to see how things pan out. But as you said, Matchco really needs to start getting games in. I think the big talking point there is everyone sort of thinks of Matchco, 0-3, but I don't think the scoreline does them justice. We've had so many close games in this group in particular, and even the losses that Matchco have had, it's felt like there was opportunities where they'd be able to pull through.
Oh, definitely. They put on a very strong performance so far, and they're in a very difficult group. You have to remember, like Mouse Sports, Karmine Corp, and oh, my brain is just gone. Giants, that's the one. All very strong teams. So it's a very difficult group for them to get out. Let's have a talk, though, about Karmine Corp and Giants as we get on into the first game of the day. It's kind of a battle of styles between these two teams, Orcs.
Yeah, it's definitely felt like for the side of Karmine Corp, there's been more of a lean towards the top side, particularly playing around Cabochard. We even saw a game where they really just sacrificed bot lane. xMatty got really far behind in it. It's kind of expected because obviously Cabochard, a very veteran player, had really a lot of success in the LEC. But on top of that, you look at how Karmine Corp played with the old roster in spring, with Adam in the top lane, very much a lane-centric player who appreciates that attention, as we've seen from when he's been playing on Fnatic this season.
Yeah, it's something that Karmine Corp have done so well across the last two EU Masters and the last two LFL splits. My question really becomes, though, for Giants, whether they can capitalize on the strong early game that they had throughout the first half of the group stage and also the last time they played up against Karmine Corp, because that early power, if they can translate that into a strong mid game and strong team fights, actually Giants have a very good shot of winning this game against the currently undefeated Karmine Corp.
And that's the thing is that for Vodafone Giants, right, the Antonio is perfectly happy to play that sacrificial role, right? We saw scenarios where top laners getting heavily punished because you're getting sort of targeted against Cabochard. You're getting put. I think there was an Aurelia Jace matchup where he got super far ahead. The Antonio will just pick a tank and he will just play safe as best he can, and then you can play for Attila. Attila has been monstrous this tournament, and already you see K-Corp starting to target him in the ban phase.
Yeah, getting rid of the Civic, getting rid of one of those really strong scaling AD carries alongside the Tristana. No real surprises. Maybe we'll see Attila fall back to something like the Ezreal or the Aphelios. Both of those likely to be left up for this first rotation. Of course, Aphelios Thresh, a very strong combination, even on the newer patches after, the LEC playoffs patches. So it's very possible we'll see that with the Rise getting taken away from SAKEN as well. No real surprises there.
Yeah, it's been 100% banned against him so far in this in the group stages. Twisted Fate also a really common ban, but instead they're going for the Ashe, something that xMatty does like to bring out, offers a lot of utility, and even if you do fall behind, even if they're investing resources in the top side, you still offer value with that ultimate for the engage, with the Hawk shots to give you information. But K-Corp are continuing with the AD carry bans and will just strike them across the board. Vodafone Giants will actually target the Varus as well, so pools very much thinned out here.
Yeah, 5 AD carry bans in the first rotation is pretty targeted. With the Zhao locked in straight away for Cinkrof. We've seen him play that once already this EU Masters. Now the question is, where do Giants go? Do they put all of their eggs down into the Attila basket? Do they go for something like Aphelios Rakan or Aphelios Thresh and just lock in a very strong bottom lane? Or do they decide that they want to shore up the top side of the map and save their AD carry for later?
I think in a reasonably comfortable position, right? You're on red side, so you have the opportunity for counter pick, unless there's something that you're really set on, like maybe the Rakan that is pretty good in most matchups. Yeah. So they will end up going for that one. There isn't really too much you can pick to specifically counter Rakan, so they're comfortable there. They take the Viego, but overall for Vodafone Giants, this doesn't reveal too much of the composition, and now K-Corp has to show a bit more of their hand. The LeBlanc is still open and available. The Twisted Fate still open and available, so I feel like K-Corp may well secure SAKEN a pick here, something that he can obviously have a lot of impact on. But first off, they're just going to go for that Ziggs, so concerned about the thinner bot lane pool, xMatty will get his hands on that.
It does give xMatty a very safe farming AD carry as well, and it opens up Targamas to roam around the map. After Ziggs gets that lost chapter, very easy for him just to clear out waves and stand underneath this tower. You have map pressure with the Mega Inferno Bomb as well, and you have the ability to take down towers quickly if you can rotate to them with the Satchel Charge. So I quite like it. It does fit into the Karmine Corp wheelhouse of we're not going to play around our bot lane, we're going to play around the rest of the map. And with the Twisted Fate, that gives you one more global threat to get up towards that top side.
Yeah, it means you have obviously the Mega Inferno Bomb, also that Twisted Fate. So just you can apply that pressure to side lanes really easily. You can lean bot, help Ziggs get the tower, which he does so well. But you can also just play heavily for Cabochard, as Corp have been doing. I love the answer coming out with the Sylas, though. We see this so often. Great in skirmishes, but you can also steal away that destiny. So if you do see that ultimate come out, you can just match it and make sure that you're not losing in terms of numbers.
Does mean that we haven't seen an AD carry yet from Giants, and we have 2 more bans available for Karmine Corp. The question is, do you get rid of something that the Antonio is safe on, like the Ornn, something that he can just farm up in that top side, or do you continue to focus on Attila's champion pool? Get rid of the Aphelios, perhaps even get rid of things like the Draven that he used to play a lot when he was in the LEC, and just shut down any possibility of them winning that bot lane.
Yeah, even the Xayah, they just banned away that there, obviously pairs well the Rakan. I think you can really heavily thin out the pool at this point. And I will say, if Vodafone Giants aren't picking the AD carry in the first rotation with so many AD carry bans, they clearly have something up their sleeve where they think they're not going to ban this. There's no realistic scenario where they do, so they must feel confident having not picked it up so far. They are going to target Cabochard a little bit here with that Renekton ban. Could also go to take away something like the Jace. Even the Lee Sin is something that Cabochard actually has been bringing out in the top lane in this tournament.
Well, there you are. There's the Jace ban, right on the money with your predictions, Orcs, and now we'll see where Karmine Corp wants to go with their final ban. Could be a full 5-for-5 AD carries removed from them. Imagine being Attila on the other hand. Like, the guy's always been quite an emotional player and be like, yeah, just chuck more bans at me. Just chuck more bans at me. Let's see if you can shut me down. There's the Draven ban as well. There we are, 5-for-5. Let's see what Attila decides to go for.
Yeah, and that's 7 AD carry bans overall, and then with the Ziggs picked as well, that's 8 bot lane picks denied. And I think at this point, you probably just take AD carry here. You leave counter pick for the Antonio. So obviously, he makes sure he's not in too bad of a matchup. So Cabochard can't punish too heavily. And the question is going to be answered. What have they got in store? And they've left till this late. Aphelios is still a potential option, but they're actually going to go for the Kai'Sa. So looking to play more for dive-oriented composition. I think it makes sense when you look at things like the Ziggs and the Twisted Fate. They're very good if you can maintain a distance because they have that longer range, especially Twisted Fate once it gets rapid fire cannon. But now if you close that gap, you can cause problems.
Definitely makes me err on the side of something like an Ornn for the Antonio in the top lane as well. However, I would be looking towards Braum if I'm Karmine Corp and say, hey, we can get a safe support here. Not the best laner with the Ziggs, but really shuts down the ability for Ornn to ever get that long-range engage, that long-range initiation. And the rest of Vodafone Giants, they can dive on you, but apart from Rakan, it's actually quite hard for them to be the ones initiating a fight when you're holding them at arm's length. Like, Sylas can try and jump in, but it's not the easiest engage tool. Viego can do the same, but it's like a flash spectral more possibility. Instead of the Braum, they'll look towards the Galio, which does a very similar thing of zone control when it comes to team fights.
Yeah, it makes it really easy when the Kai'Sa dives in. You can just hold that taunt down, and it's very difficult. You know, the range of her ultimate around a target is very similar to the taunt, so you can catch them. You also have even more global pressure to play around with, right? When you have a Ziggs in the bot lane is super safe, you can then just walk a little bit into the river and you're in ult range off mid. And on top of that, I think in terms of ultimates to steal away, Alice does something Targamas likes, but obviously with this Sylas there, you have to really think about what ult are you giving to the other side. And looks like you're right, they are just going to go for that Ornn, that extra engage potential, which when you look at the fact it's in a mobile mid laner who you can potentially punish, definitely a strong take there.
Yeah, it does mean that they won't have any priority. Lee Sin will get the push in the top lane. Twisted Fate early on should be able to push the Sylas out of lane. And of course, Kai'Sa not the best after her Q nerfs. A few patches ago, her Q nerfs actually really hurt her early laning pressure. So I'd expect Karmine Corp to actually have 3 pretty strong lanes in the early game, at least until we get towards 1.5 items or so.
Yeah, I think they feel really comfortable here, especially Galio into Rakan specifically is a great matchup. Really makes it difficult for him to engage. So this should be Karmine Corp looking to have a strong, proactive early game. And really, I think they massively come online about that level 6 point when Ziggs is level 5. He's got 3 points in his Q. He's got a bit of mana behind him. That's when we can start to see them spreading their pressure around the map. Whereas on the other side, I think it's waiting a little bit longer to get online. But then when it comes to those skirmishes, the sheer aggression of the composition, the dive potential is there for Vodafone Giants, but it really comes down to that execution.
And Vodafone Giants have been really good in teamfights throughout the course of EU Masters so far. The question is, can they manage without that strong early game? Because part of their strength in their first 3 games was how far ahead they were able to get into the early games. Last time against Karmine Corp, they weren't able to bring it home, but here they've drafted a composition that shouldn't garner early leads, and Karmine Corp should be on the front foot for at least the first, as you say, 6 to 11 levels of the game.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, is that I will also put it to the other side, is that Karmine Corp haven't had the crispest early games. In spring, we saw them as this very aggressive team who are very good at it, but some of the places they've been messing up has particularly been around heralds. We've often seen them head towards them, not set up with a numbers advantage, get challenged on it and lose out. And that's honestly actually cost them a fair bit. Their herald percentage so far is 16%. Considering they're 3-0, to only have that low herald percentage is pretty dire. But it just shows how good they are when they get to the mid game. So I think for them as a team, that's when they spike. But then with this composition, that's when they'll really spike. So I think they should be feeling comfortable in this one. My question is how Vodafone Giants are going to answer that.
Well, throughout the course of the Amazon EU Masters, Vodafone Giants have focused around their bottom lane. It's kind of this clash of styles of the two teams. Karmine Corp very focused on getting Cabochard ahead, making sure that he is in advantage. And if we do have a look at some of the numbers between him and the Antonio, we'll see that Cabochard is actually just so far ahead of the Antonio when it comes to laning stats. Higher CS a minute, higher kill participation, the highest kill share of any top laner in the EU Masters so far, and this is kind of balanced out by the fact that Vodafone Giants don't play around their top side. They're focused more on getting their AD carry ahead.
Yeah, so when we look at the AD carry stats, we can see it's almost flipped, essentially. You can see a 20% difference in that kill participation, much higher gold share, much higher damage share. And again, this isn't to sort of have a slight towards xMatty the Antonio. It just kind of shows the role they've been playing in their team. And you look at the champions here, right? Ziggs obviously is a high damage champion, but you tend to put him on that weak side. He can just wave clear safely. And likewise with Ornn, you don't exactly pick an Ornn to play around. You pick him for that scaling element, and it's because he's pretty tricky to dive as far as things go for top laners.
You can even see it from the jungle pathing, right? 1-1-3 started on the top side of the map. He's going to work his way down towards bottom side, towards his AD carry, towards the point of pressure that Giants have had. Whereas Cinkrof started on the bottom side, was spotted on a ward on his red buff, but now he's doing his top side clear and can look to try and set something up towards the Antonio. It is a difficult gank, as you say. The Ornn, very tanky, very hard to catch underneath his tower, but if anyone's going to do it, it's Cinkrof and Cabochard.
Yeah, and importantly as well, it means he's playing to those prior lanes so that you're in a position, if you want to get that scuttle, you know your laners can move. He's gone. They can actually TP SAKEN in here. I think that might be the plan. With 3 members, this should be more than enough to take him down.
Yeah, just need a gold card and a TP coming out from SAKEN. SAKEN's already in the Tribush, though. Might not even have to burn that summoner spell, and the pressure they had in mid and the pressure they had in top is starting to pay dividends. The Antonio trying to turn the damage back around, the gold card coming out, and the TP has been expended from Giants. Miniduke coming across to defend his top laner.
Yeah, and this is actually a massive win for Corp, because although you may think, well, the dive got denied, they burn Miniduke's TP, and if you actually look mid lane, there's a massive wave that's about to crash under the tower, so he's actually missing a fair bit of farm here, and SAKEN just being able to come back in and essentially pick up the wave that is now bouncing back. So you can see it stacked up on the minimap. There's so many red minions, and he's already got a CS advantage. So it's 15 CS to 9. It's going to build up even further. The cost here was pretty big, and we still have that TP advantage for Corp.
That's the big thing about it, right? Like, even if you don't get the dive, you get so much out of the rest of the map, and Corp are in a commanding position when it comes to map pressure for the next 5 minutes or so. We'll see how they can use it, because if they don't, of course, it comes out in favor of Giants being able to mitigate that early game pressure that Corp had. For the moment, though, it looks like both the supports are going to move towards that mid lane. Kasing and 1-1-3 will try and help Miniduke just stop this freeze, because right now that minion wave is not in a good position. It might even show just to force SAKEN back underneath his tower.
Yeah, and it's really difficult as a melee champion when you're going up against a TF and the wave's in a bad spot, because if you overextend and you're alone, you're going to get stun carded into an easy gank. But 1-1-3 and Kasing are looking here.
Control ward's down here from Targamas. He does still have that aftershock. Kasing just jumping forward. Ward in the bush by the Razorbeaks. Will spot out the fact that Cinkrof is here as well. Wind becomes lightning coming out. There's the Guardian proc. SAKEN coming across with the gold card. 1-1-3 gonna get jumped on straight away. Smites away the minion, but he's been locked up. He's been airborne. He gets ignited. 1-1-3 will be able to take the first kill, but he falls as well. And now Miniduke and Kasing have to run for the win, because that gold card is locked in once again. Kasing does still have the flash. Chains are going to get the slow. SAKEN turning his attention over to Miniduke. TP coming in from the Ornn. The Antonio leaving top lane, and SAKEN and Targamas should just be able to walk back towards their tower here, but Miniduke going back in. Targamas caught out. There's the kill. Giants get 2.
Yeah, and as well, the freeze in mid is able to be broken, and Miniduke is going to be able to pick up this massive wave. So we talked about how the impact for Corp was better on that early dive, even though it was denied, but they've been able to break the freeze. They're able to get a favorable skirmish, and they get those 2 kills, so they can be happy with how things have panned out around the mid lane. We're going to replay up that, and you can see Corp are essentially buying time before SAKEN's able to move down, and they put everything onto this Viego. And you need to, because if you're skirmishing with the Viego early and he survives, he will end up getting those resets and a ton of value. You even see Cinkrof use the W flash to ensure that they hit him, and it ends up feeling like it's pretty good for Corp, right? You took out the jungler, you feel like you can continue, but the thing is, if you look towards the top side, Ornn is in a position where he can TP, he's pushed that wave up, and Targamas actually ends up missing that dash, so the follow-up comes through, and overall it ends up being a Vodafone Giants win.
Yeah, managed to pick up a couple of kills in the early game, a 500 gold lead for them now. Cabochard didn't use the TP, didn't expend it to come and join that fray down towards the red buff, so he is 18, 19 CS up, already has the Iron Spike whip completed. Question is whether he's going to be able to translate that into the rest of the map, because he does still have the TP, 3 teleports available for Karmine Corp, and they're working their way down towards this bottom lane. SAKEN now level 6 as well, so does have the Destiny. They want to try and catch out Attila or Kasing, but Rakan very safe. Attila has the cleanse and the flash still available as well.
Yeah, and you can see now the priority has been achieved in top lane, and Cabochard's moving down already. So this means essentially Corp's very free to do what they want on this side of the map. They're looking towards his dragon. They know the Antonios just cannot move at all because he's having to deal with a wave, and on top of that, no TP. So they will start this one up, and I think Vodafone Giants can't really do anything to contest right now.
There's not really much on the map for them to pressure around. 113 coming across. Kasing's working his way up here, and perhaps Giants want to fight this. Oh, it's stolen away by 113. His Destiny coming out as well. That was stolen away. Miniduke looking for the kill, and you said they couldn't do anything about it. Giants have other ideas as they get another kill. They steal away the dragon. They're looking to steal away this red buff as well. 113 still on the chase. Spectral Maw has been used. There's the Destiny popped. Taunt does hit, but Kasing is here for the fight. Targamas going to have to flash away. The chase is still on as Giants look for their 4th kill of the game. And Cabochard trading with Antonio off towards the top side. Destiny was used to get up there. That is a counter kill coming out for Karmine Corp. The wave cleared away here by xMatty. 113 is going to catch it, but there's no minions for them. They're still going to go for the dive. TP coming out, Satchel Charge, flash away by xMatty, and is able to dissuade this dive. Cabochard coming in, doesn't have flash, doesn't have the Dragon's Rage, and is just here to defend his bot laner.
Very, very scrappy. And I think the big thing from that was we talked about how Cabochard found the push, moved down, but he didn't stay. He had to go back towards the top side to answer the wave, and so wasn't there to assist his team. In the top lane, we saw SAKEN take an opportunity. They lost on the bottom side of the map. Why not go for a play on the top side, set Cabochard up? But actually, it's kind of weird how things panned out, because it almost looked like Targamas was baited by the Destiny as well, because I felt like he was out, but he went back in when the Destiny came up, and it's like, he's not going towards you. SAKEN's going top lane, and ended up actually giving over a fair bit. And Vodafone Giants, they stole away the dragon. Great from 113 there, but on top of that, getting more kills off the back of the play, they can feel comfortable. And Corp heading towards the Herald. Remember, 16% of Heralds in their game so far. They don't tend to do well around these, and I think Vodafone Giants are feeling comfortable to contest them on it.
Oh, they definitely should be. Spectral Maw coming out again, and SAKEN has no flash, doesn't really have anywhere to go. Will land the stun cards, the chain's not quite enough damage. Kasing on the chase, and now that Herald is forfeit. If your mid laner's not there, he does have the TP, so he could come across, and this feels a little greedy from Karmine Corp right now. No Call of the Forge God available for the Antonio. Targamas looking for a flank position. The Rift held down to about 3,000, 2,000 HP now as the eye is popped. TP can come in. There's the hero's entrance though, and Cinkrof has to use the Crescent Guard to try and get away. Hex Flash into Taunt, that's going to hit 3, but on the back line, Cinkrof is getting chased away by Miniduke. The Rift held going down. Giants, I think, were the ones to pick it up. Antonio will turn back towards it. Miniduke will take it, and once again, the Rift held a thorn in the side of Karmine Corp.
And I think it's just not setting up for it properly, right? You saw what Giants did there. They pushed in through mid, they got control of the wave, they actually forced SAKEN to recall because they got him so low, and then they moved through into the river. Yes, SAKEN had TP, but it still meant he was late to the play and allowed Vodafone Giants to set up and find an advantage. And I think it's another time where we see Corp making a mistake around this objective. The composition is going to excel in the mid game, but for now, they have fallen behind once more.
So once again, we see Giants getting these early game leads, perhaps when we didn't expect them to too much, and it does just feel like an overstay here from Corp.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, because they'd already got the Herald low, they couldn't just back away because they knew that Vodafone Giants would take it. They tried it here, but it ends up getting low. The thing is, SAKEN's only just turning up now. This is when he finally gets in. Already you've lost 2 members. And the thing with the TF is he's actually really instrumental for keeping xMatty safe as well on this Ziggs. If you have the TF there, then you can stone card anyone who gets close. You can shut down the Viego. You can shut down even the Kai'Sa and the Sylas. Without him there, you lose a lot of power.
We did see Cabochard picking up a 1v1 kill at the end of that. The Antonio was very low, so not too surprising that he got caught out as he tried to work his way towards the top lane. But Ornn doesn't really need too many resources. Just doesn't really need too much gold to be an impacting champion as the game goes on. So for the moment, I think Giants will be very happy with this game state. 1,000 gold ahead, still have the Rift held for about half of its timer. At the 11-minute mark, their team fight composition is scaling very well.
Yeah, they're feeling really comfortable. And again, you know, yes, the gold isn't that big of a difference, but as you said, it's where the gold is. And I see a Viego who's up in farm, who has a kill and a few assists, and I'm feeling a little bit nervous if I'm a fan of the LFL, because remember, they are undefeated so far on group stage. It's not just K-Corp, the first seed as well, Misfits Premier, also 3-0. And so far, Vodafone Giants looking like they're in a strong position. They're now moving their resources up towards the top side, threatening to look for this tower on the back of the Herald that they do have. See, Cabochard is going to try and push them away, and they may just end up moving down towards the mid lane instead. But they are, again, it's Kasing and 113 paired up. When those two are together, you have the engage potential, and you also have the reset potential from that Viego.
It's an interesting decision as well from K-Corp not to move their Ziggs up towards the top side. Cabochard staying up here is going to be outnumbered in this situation. Staying around as well, does have the kick. We'll try and ward jump away. Kasing on the chase, there's the flash. Cabochard gets to safety, but usually what we see is you switch your bot lane up towards the top side to answer the pressure that this Kai'Sa and Rakan are putting down. Instead, Cabochard the one staying up here with Targamas in support.
I think in terms of wanting to contest Vodafone Giants, the Lee Sin is a lot more valuable than the Ziggs right now. Ziggs doesn't really care who he's laying against as long as it's not like 3 or 4 people. He can just clear waves. So I think that's basically the strategy for K-Corp right now. It's just kind of mitigate the pressure from Vodafone Giants, try and prevent them from getting a good Herald off, and then you can look to start using your composition against some of those global elements and potentially use some of the Ziggs tower taking power. But for now, it is 1 minute left on the Herald, and it looks like Vodafone Giants are just going to go for 2 plates mid.
Yeah, should just put it down here. Miniduke will pop it down. They can use this time to get pressure down towards that Mountain Drake if they want. Make sure the Rift Herald gets the charge in. 113 already working his way down towards that bot side river. So they do get 2 plates. Not quite able to pick up the third with only a minute left on those plates as well. I don't think they'll be able to get there too soon to get another one. Meanwhile, Cabochard continues to put pressure in the top lane and will be able to get at least 1, maybe even 2 plates out of the fact that K-Corp have decided they do not want to contest the second dragon.
Which I think is fine, right? Because third dragon is the one that you really need to contest to shut down the soul. It is going to be an ocean soul, which honestly, Vodafone Giants, it's kind of nice. You have a lot of sort of bulkier members who can benefit from that sustain. But realistically, for K-Corp, it's more about the gold rather than the dragons right now. Playing with fire there.
Playing with fire right there. SAKEN only just TP back into lane as well.
Yeah, and he's going home.
Oh, no, wait. That was an unsealed spellbook TP, so it's he used something else. You can see how quickly the time is going down, so it hasn't used the teleport to get back into the lane. Does still have the Destiny, was forced away. Kick going down onto the Antonio. He'll flash away from Cinkrof as the tower falls in the top lane. That's all 5 plates there for Karmine Corp, and still the gold lead about 1,000 for Giants as we get towards these plates falling off.
I like to play just a TP Maddie in on the Ziggs just to finish off the tower, really playing the demolitionist role. And it's kind of just both teams are sort of leaning on different sides of the map, trying to get advantages. And K-Corp have done pretty well, right? Enemy team got Herald, you did fall behind in the skirmishes, but because you take that first tower, you're still actually in a decent spot. There is a gold lead, of course. You're not going to be happy with that, but things definitely could have been a lot worse than they are right now.
It's one of those things where coordinated play will keep you in this game. The question is when we get towards those skirmishes, that third Drake that you were talking about, whether Karmine Corp will be in a good enough situation, a good enough position to win out on the fights. They've shown us throughout the course of the last week or so that they are incredibly good at playing team fights, but Giants have shown us the same. And especially with a composition that works so well front to back here and can dive on your backline, it's going to be a difficult test for the LFL number 2 representatives.
And I think that's a big thing is it's going to come down in the team fights to how the ranges are played, right? If xMatty's untouched, if SAKEN's untouched, especially when he hits that 2-item spike with a rapid fire cannon, you can kind of just keep everyone bay, stun card anyone who gets close. And really for Vodafone Giants, it's like, can you find access on the pivotal targets? And that's going to be really how the team fights are looking to play out. But I think a thing to be said is, as you hinted on, Vodafone Giants really solid in team fights. The way they lost against K-Corp last time wasn't really down to like established 5v5s. It felt like K-Corp just kept finding consistent picks, and they have the tools to do so. Cabochard's actually fishing for one here, but the TF is always really solid at picking off any stray members from Vodafone Giants, so we want to see if they can make sure they're keeping themselves safe.
Oh, Cabochard being very greedy here, but the hero's entrance is coming out. Cabochard almost down before anyone can join him, but he manages to survive. Attila diving in, that's a 1-4 trade so far. Miniduke is going to catch out xMatty down towards the bottom side, and now SAKEN is on the wrong side of the rift. Does land the stun cards, pops the stopwatch, so does Kasing, and now SAKEN left to the Wolves, left to the Giants. Another couple of kills going over to Vodafone Giants.
Yeah, beautiful play from Vodafone Giants. Cabochard felt like he could go aggressive. He's strong, he's got his teammates to back up. 3 of them have got globals, but they ended up not really being able to find too much there. Yes, 113 got shut down, but the Lee Sin got deleted, and critically, Miniduke able to find the assassination on the Ziggs, and now
that was so greedy for Miniduke. Why would you do that? Just let the tower stand. The Antonio tries to save him, and now the TPs come in as Cabochard looks for the chase. There's the knockup. The Antonio goes back in with Bella's Breath. We'll be able to get a 1-for-1 trade out of this. But Cabochard just needs one more auto attack to take him. Targamas, though, dives under the tower, has to flash away, and that 113 turns it back around. And it's a series of sprints. I thought the Olympics were over, but these teams are sprinting it down mid lane.
They just cannot stop. They just keep going for these plays. You see Miniduke make a mistake, it gets punished, but then it instantly gets turned around again. We're going to go back to where this fight kicks off, though. And the big thing is, Cabochard's on a ward, and he gets collapsed on, right? They focus everything onto him. And yes, we see 113 get shut down, but Cabochard is so fed, he's worth a lot more in this situation. And then if you look at the bottom, we see Miniduke, actually you can't see it off screen, but he instantly deletes the xMatty, and then in the following fight, Vodafone Giants know they have the numbers advantage, and the rest of K-Corp just has to back away.
And then Miniduke decides, my life for the tower. Apparently, like, he really didn't need to do this. As soon as you see Cinkrof here, you can just back away.
I think
but
he overestimated how quickly he'd take this tower.
He definitely did. And then dies for it, gives a huge shutdown over to Karmine Corp. The Antonio then dies on the backswing, TP expended, and was able to get a 1-for-1. Like, it was just a series of ints. Let's be honest, like everyone being a little bit too greedy for those kills.
The 2 big moments, I think Miniduke's mistake was because he had his passive proc, the AoE hit Cinkrof and aggroed the tower on him, because there was still a minion there. And then I think as well that final Q from Cabochard, if that had hit the Antonio, Targamas wouldn't have had to die there. So a couple of mechanical errors kind of backfiring in this situation, but overall a lot of back and forth. Vodafone Giants out 2,000 gold up, 2 dragons in pocket, looking to set up for the 3rd. And K-Corp, we said giving away 2 is fine, but you need to stop them from getting too close to the soul, right? You don't want them to get that 3rd.
Importantly as well, 113 does have a Rift Herald in his inventory, so can put that down to gain some pseudo pressure on the map. Here's the Destiny coming out from SAKEN, looking for the gold card. The Antonio stepping forward, and Targamas is trying to get in there with the charm, but he's just not able to do anything. Giants totally cleaning up this fight so far. Targamas low, he's going to fall. 113 jumping across for xMatty as well, and Cabochard and SAKEN have to run for the hills. Blast Cone popped. 113 will take the highway back towards the Ocean Drake. SAKEN, no rapid fire cannon on him as of yet, and now the 3rd dragon, 1 away from Ocean Soul for Giants.
Target selection is just so good from Vodafone Giants in this situation. They don't really let K-Corp get set up. And again, SAKEN doesn't have that rapid fire cannon, wasn't really positioned in a way to peel for his backline. We see as things kick off, they just go, right, who's the closest target we can take down? And they instantly look to delete him. The sustained DPS isn't really there from K-Corp. So when they jump on Cinkrof, the CC chain's there, doesn't even get to pop his ult. And xMatty will throw his bomb down, but he's not really doing enough damage to be relevant at this point. And the rest of the team, so split in this situation. Cabochard and SAKEN off to the side. It's just not really playing out how K-Corp wanted to go. But on top of that, Vodafone Giants really executing well. And now 3 dragons in pocket, 3,000 gold lead. This game's looking good.
Yeah, the Antonio should die here. He's going to try and get away. Does have the flash for the wall. Cabochard can flash chase if he wants. Doesn't hit the Sonic Wave, but Antonio's flash being burnt there. Not the biggest of deals. You could see that SAKEN and Cabochard were looking for a pick on that Ornn. Probably the easiest target to pick off right now, but Giants really don't care too much about him. 3,000 gold ahead. They're in a very strong position with 30 seconds on the Baron as well. That just opens up one more avenue for them to pull K-Corp into a fight.
Yeah, and they still have the Herald from before, so they can just keep taking structures, accelerating that gold lead. They've only taken one tower, and the fact that this far ahead in gold with only one, I mean, even in towers now, it just means there's so much standing gold they can continue to take, and that really should be the goal for Vodafone Giants. The Baron could potentially be the throw, but if you pick up those towers, get that extra gold, you can wait for that next dragon in 3 minutes, and if K-Corp fight you at that, you're gonna have a gold lead, and if they lose the fight, you now have Soul. And again, Ocean Soul, it's a bit situational, right? If you have a squishy composition, you don't always get that much value from it. But with tanks like Ornn, with bulky bruisers like the Sylas, like the Viego, in an extended fight, they will get a ton of value. And critically, against the Ziggs, deny his poke.
Here comes the TP. Cabochard's going to join this fight. Could look for the safeguard jump. The Destiny will land the Sonic wave. 113 there as well. Kasing going in here as entrance used. And that's a lot expended from Karmine Corp to not really get too much.
And this is Karmine Corp trying to do what they did in their last matchup against Vodafone Giants. Find picks, find isolated members. They were behind then, and that's how they got back in this game. But Vodafone Giants are prepared for it. They instantly disengage, and so they're not able to find anything. As you said, a lot expended. K-Corp, things are starting to feel tense. The pressure's on. The LFL's reputation at stake. 6-0 so far in the group stage. This could be looking like the end of that.
Also, of course, K-Corp had won this game. They would have qualified for quarterfinals. Here it means they have at least one more game to play today before they have locked that spot. And Vodafone Giants will put themselves in a very good position to qualify as well, being 3-1 when Matchco currently yet to win a game and Big only sitting at 1-2 puts you in a very strong spot. Your destiny entirely in your own hands. Giants, though, at the moment, continuing just to keep this game at a slow and steady pace. They don't have to do anything here. They reacted well to Karmine Corp's possibility of a pick, but they continue to keep that gold lead around the 4,000 mark, and with only 2 minutes left before the Ocean Soul, you have to think that's going to be the next big fight. 2 items complete on the Antonio, 2 items as well for Miniduke and Attila, and not quite there for Maddie yet. He only has that Leandri's Anguish, hasn't finished what's going to be a Void Staff yet.
Yeah, which is kind of tragic because the Void Staff would have a fair bit of value, but the fact they have the Rapid Fire Cannon pretty big because it kind of changes how the Twisted Fate plays. But in terms of setup for these objectives, what I really like from Vodafone Giants is they're not actually putting too much attention to the Dragon area right now because they can do that. They still have time. They still have a minute 15. But importantly, they're trying to keep some vision around the Baron because if they go for the Dragon and K-Corp try to rush the Baron, that's really where you could throw this gold lead. So they kind of trying to keep their pressure spread across mid lane and not give any windows over to K-Corp. You can see Targamas trying to move in, won't find the window though.
Destiny, they're looking for Miniduke here. Cabochard's going to catch him out as well. Everfrost can kick away. Miniduke is going to be able to get back underneath the tower. Saved by Cabochard. Now Targamas, who just burnt his flash, is caught out. Giants will take a free kill and turn their eyes up towards the top side of the map. Baron a possibility. Ocean Soul available in 40 seconds as well. They may even just look to get mid-prio and force Karmine Corp's hand. What are you going to do? You have no Destiny, you have no Dragon's Rage, and TP coming out from Miniduke means that he'll be back in the fray in a moment. Kasing's going to be able to dodge away with the Battle Dance, and now Giants push into this red side jungle and gain that vision control you were talking about, Orcs.
Yeah, really patient play. They push the mid wave in, they TP Miniduke back so he's full on HP, and it forces K-Corp out from the river. And now it's on K-Corp to try and push in. It's very difficult because we talked about the power of the TF at stun carding threats. If they're coming out the fog of war, you don't have very much time to react on the back of that.
Targamas almost in range for the hero's entrance. Miniduke is going to dodge across towards the Ocean Dragon. Has been started up, but Giants don't really want it as of yet. The Antonio, no ult on him, but he does land a 3-man knockup, and Cinkrof now on the front line. Quickness onto the back. The dive in. xMatty's already down, and now the question is, can Karmine Corp fight from this position? Cabochard on the back line, forced away. Attila dived in. He was stunned up. Kasing goes down. 2 for 1 in favor of Giants right now. 1-1-3, very healthy. Miniduke down to half. Attila forced down towards the bottom side of the fight. SAKEN has a gold card locked in. He's looking for 1-1-3, but he just about gets in range for it. Dragon started up by Giants, and they are looking to close this out, looking for that soul. Cabochard coming in from the side, has the Dragon's Rage, looks for Attila, kicks him across. It's a 3-man knockup. The Dragon's taken by 1-1-3, and now with the Ocean Soul, I don't think Karmine Corp will be able to do too much here. They dive in, but Cinkrof is down. 1-1-3 picks up another kill onto SAKEN. And Vodafone Giants, 19 kills to 8, by 1,000 gold ahead with an Ocean Soul in their back pocket, can turn their eyes towards the Baron.
And they managed to hold up. We talked about that mid-game. That's when K-Corp comes back in, but Vodafone Giants do not give them the opportunity. in this fight. I love the engagement of the Antonio. The follow-up is there onto the Ziggs. xMatty is deleted, and then the fight extends out. Attila makes a great move flashing over the wall here as he gets stunned. So instead of getting 2 members, K-Corp only get 1, and it ends up being a 2-for-1 overall. Vodafone Giants still up in terms of members can move over, but it looks like K-Corp, they want to stop this Baron.
Well, Targamas tried to get in. They've turned away from the Baron right now as you've got Giants look for the fight. Cabochard going in once again, but doesn't have the Dragon's Rage. Stopwatch pop by Miniduke. There's the Destiny coming out as well. He's going to join the fray. Miniduke knocked back with the satchel, and now he's going to get caught out. A good kill here for Karmine Corp. Perhaps they've started to find the picks that they were looking for. Kasing going to try and dodge away. Should still have the battle dance to get to 113, but he is down as Cabochard kicks him to the face. 2 quick kills to Karmine Corp, and now they might be the team turning towards the Baron.
This is when it starts getting messy again. This is how it went down the last time. It's still Vodafone Giants really far ahead. They have the Ocean Soul, but they might have just thrown away this Baron. It's got to feel a little bit painful and rest on your mind. Those picks chaining together is exactly how K-Corp got back into it. And now with the Baron in hand, they are still going to have that disadvantage with the Ocean Soul in favor of Vodafone Giants. But pick up some Grievous Wounds, take some towers with this Baron, and maybe this game seems a lot more reasonable.
That's the thing, right? If you can continue to find a couple of picks like that before team fights really kick off, Karmine Corp can get back into this game. You have the power of this Lee Sin, this Xin Zhao, and this Twisted Fate. You have the range advantage when it comes to team fights. And now you've got some Grievous Wounds that you are asking for. Oblivion Orb and an Executioner's Calling picked up for K-Corp. Giants perhaps rocked a little by that last play, but they are still very much in the lead in this game. A 3-item Kai'Sa, 2 items on your Sylas, almost 3 items finished on 113 as well. They're in a really strong position, just whether or not they can maintain their composure as we get towards this next stage, because Elder Drake has to be the key point of focus for these teams now.
Absolutely. I think they still have a bit of time before they need to focus on it specifically. I think K-Corp need to start getting some structures, get some gold in pocket, because I think that Elder Dragon is going to be the pivotal point of the game. Because if Vodafone Giants win that fight, it's pretty much going to be over. They scale incredibly well. They're already passing out ornaments. They have that Ocean Soul that they're going to have for the rest of the game. I think this is the window K-Corp have potentially found where they can get back in the game. If they don't manage to pull it off, I think they're just going to struggle as things get further and further. So Vodafone Giants made a mistake, but still feeling confident now, looking for an engage.
Counter Destiny used there by Miniduke. You can see Karmine Corp immediately back away. The Antonio is working his way up from the top side. Destiny now used into the red side jungle. Miniduke would be spotted out on a ward if he went across towards the side. Attila is not here. Attila is not here, and SAKEN realizes it. He goes in, knocks everyone immediately. Mega Inferno Bomb coming out as well as they look for Miniduke. Call to the Forge God's being popped, and SAKEN will get knocked up. Antonio going in, can't quite get the damage down. The Crescent Guard's going to knock him out of the position, and now Attila's joined the fray. Vodafone Giants looking for a Cabochard, looking for Attila. The kick onto 4. Cinkrof diving in. Targamas going in, and once again, history repeats itself. Cabochard is looking for Kasing. He'll get him on the backline. Attila's going to trade on team 113, trying to get onto SAKEN. 200 HP left. The Heartbreaker stunned up. 113's down. Cabochard's down, and in the end, it's a positive trade for Karmine Corp. But just how close was that fight?
I can't believe they keep finding these windows. The gold lead in favor of Vodafone Giants. The dive potential's there, but it's just a misexecution. Attila wasn't there. They didn't have the AD carry at this point in the game. The Vodafone Giants still looking for more.
It's either the Void Seeker or the Abducted hit there. You could see the Vodafone Giants were going to dive onto xMatty, but they just couldn't quite find any damage onto that Ziggs. Let's have another look at this fight.
I think the big thing is how well K-Corp are able to peel away from the Antonio. He dives in, goes for this knockup, and I believe just gets interrupted by Cinkrof's ult, so he doesn't find out on a SAKEN. And then watch this kick from Cabochard. The damage he does to 3 members. That kick single-handedly made this fight competitive for K-Corp, and he does manage to find Kasing here. It's tragic. If he hit the Q on Attila, I think he probably would have just taken him down. It's not quite enough, but still, K-Corp able to find favor in this fight despite the disadvantages and kind of showing the magic that they bring at this point of the game. The damage dealt last team fight. That kick alone put Cabochard in first place.
It's just so close now between these two teams. Like, it felt done and dusted, I'll be honest. It felt like Giants should have had this one in the bag, but Karmine Corp continue to impress. Spectral Maud's going to go wide there as Targamas able to dodge to the side of it. Importantly, of course, for Karmine Corp now is all their flashes are available. The same for Giants, only Antonio without that summoner spell for the next battle, and with 50 seconds on the Elder Drake. I have to feel that's where the fight's going to happen. Cabochard does have TP if he wants to go back, but it's ticking as now SAKEN joins the fray. Pops the Destiny. Miniduke is not there. Attila uses the Kai'Sa. Look at the damage already. Cinkrof going in, 113 there as well, but Cinkrof is so low already. The healing coming out. Attila killed off towards the backside. No, he manages to survive. Instead, Cabochard goes in for the kill. 113 trying to trade him onto SAKEN. The stopwatch will come out and 113 will die. A double kill for Miniduke, 2 for 2 so far in the fight. As now Giants look to gain control of the mid lane once again. SAKEN gonna reset, doesn't have TP to join the fight, but I don't think either of these teams will want to do Elder without their junglers.
Yeah, and I think the big thing as well is that Corp, although they have lower health than SAKEN. Oh, Engage coming in.
I mean, xMatty just stepped right into the mid lane there. Targamas gonna have to sacrifice himself for his AD carry. Flashes away. A good satchel will keep Miniduke at bay as well. SAKEN running towards this fight as quickly as possible. But xMatty with the wave clear will be able to keep Giants at bay for the moment.
He does have TP, and critically, Cinkrof is alive a lot sooner than 113. It's 10 seconds advantage. Cabochard has TP, so he can join, whereas Attila doesn't. So I think if Corp want to, they can get there first, set up for this objective. Potentially, if they get control of the area, it can make it very difficult for Vodafone Giants to approach. Again, you have those gold cards you can throw out to anyone who moves forwards, but we're just getting such scrappy fights, really coming down to the wire in this one.
Neck and neck as we get towards what could be the final fight of the game. 2,000 gold between the two teams. Miniduke going in once again, has the Zhonya's. No second stopwatch on him. No Zhonya's for SAKEN right now. Importantly, no stopwatches on the AD carry either. Attila does not have that ability to stop Cabochard if he catches him out. Elder started, the Antonio in a good position for a flank here, not spotted on any vision. Now he is by Cabochard. Sonic Wave going in. Elder down to 3,000 HP. The Antonio getting chased away by Cabochard. But Cabochard might need to realize that this Elder Drake should be the target for him. Kasing going in. There's a charm on Cinkrof. Hero's Entrance coming out as well. And Cabochard looking for the backline. Cabochard kills off Kasing. Attila chased towards the back of this. Antonio doesn't have the ult anymore as Miniduke has to try and dodge away. Antonio with a 5-man knockup, but that's all he's going to get out of this one. Stopwatch coming out. Destiny used as well by SAKEN. He has a flank position now, and Antonio is down. Karmine Corp winning out the fights once again. They'll start up the Elder. They do not need more out of this. Attila, oh, the Sonic Wave just goes wide. Attila might try and turn this one back around. What can he do? Has the killer instinct. Cabochard's going to dodge back towards his team. 113 coming in as well. No flash, but does have the smite. SAKEN's going to look for that stun card, but the Harrod path will keep 113 invisible right now. They go on to SAKEN. They pop the stopwatch. Now 113 is down. Vodafone Giants were looking for the fight. Miniduke still looking for it. Elder reset, goes back, 2,000 on it. Attila stepping forward. Attila flashes into the pit, but he can't quite get it. Cinkrof. Attila managed to pick up one kill. The Elder Drake does go over towards Karmine Corp. Miniduke gets a counter kill. And those are Elders that have fallen off Karmine Corp. Only xMatty and Targamas survive.
It's so tense, so back and forth. And Corp, they do come out ahead. They do get the Elder, but as you said, 3 wiped off because Miniduke and Attila refused to let it go, kept fighting. And here, it just felt like so much was soaked by Cinkrof here. They all target him. He pops the ult, survives for such a long time, has the Gold Drinker, has the Sterix, and then they throw all that damage back at Vodafone Giants. And it's just very quick advantage. The Ziggs doing so much here to chunk out pretty much everyone from the Spanish side. The Antonio is caught in 4. He's not getting away. But then this follow-up fight, I have to respect just the confidence from Attila to go for this play, very nearly stealing away the Elder Dragon here. And Miniduke gets so much value from the healing on this one, able just to deal so much damage. And at this point, dueling Cabochard as well.
It's just, I mean, the fact that Attila decided to flash and then flashes into the control warded bush so that xMatty and Targamas can't focus him down. On the backline, Miniduke picking up a kill as well. xMatty, of course, does still have this Elder, but Ocean on Vodafone Giants is going to do work. The Baron, though, the target for Karmine Corp. And I think Giants just really shouldn't fight this one. You know, give it up. You don't want to fight against Elder Drake on a Ziggs. Allow them to take it. They've still got a minute, and Giants have other ideas. They're not willing to give up this without a fight. Call of the Forge God available for the Antonio. Miniduke stepping forward. Flash is only on no one apart from the Antonio, actually. Cabochard is on its way off cooldown. Miniduke chipped out just a little bit. Here's the Call of the Forge God. Perhaps we'll look for Cinkrof. Destiny coming out as well. Crescent Guard. Cinkrof by himself in the pit. Cabochard chased off towards the backside. There's the Destiny as they look for Attila, but no gold card was locked in. Attila's able to walk away, just about surviving, with the tick, tick, tick of the Elder Drake forces Giants away. 30 seconds on the Elder. Karmine Corp have reset on the Baron, and it looks like Attila's just going to try and heal up from this way.
Yeah, got the Ocean healing as well. It's still so tense. And the big thing, even though it's only the Elder on the bot lane, because this is Ziggs, because he has the Andrews and so much AoE, there is that threat. One big ultimate can apply to a lot of people. It keeps ticking. If they get low, they'll go down. The Vodafone Giants, they're healed up. They're now confident to go for this. And it's up to Corp to move in and respond. We're getting the TPs coming in.
It might just be gone before Corp can even respond. SAKEN coming in towards the backline. Doesn't have the smite on the unsealed spell, but Cinkrof going in as well. The smite will secure it. 113 takes it. Now Karmine Corp looking to fight. Attila dodges off towards the side. Miniduke going in as well, but Cabochard's going to kill off Attila, and now SAKEN the target. As you see, Miniduke just trying to get the chains to land. SAKEN will fall. It's a double for 113. Cabochard now in no man's land, fighting off 3. The Antonio chasing off xMatty and Targamas. Cabochard caught out, stunned up, locked down. It's a triple for Viego. 113 showing up.
Yeah, and it's now 4 members against 2. It's the Ziggs, so has a lot of wave clear, but they have the Baron. This might be enough for them just to try and force mid and end. Vodafone Giants definitely feeling the stress on this one. Corp keeping it close throughout, but this might be enough for them to look for the close.
Mega Inferno Bomb around 20 seconds away, so I think Vodafone Giants should be able to get at least the inhibitor. I question whether or not they'll be able to push all the way into the Nexus here. Mega Inferno Bomb stolen away. Miniduke's got that ultimate. xMatty's about to get it as well, and you expect him to use it to clear out the way, but with the call of the Forge God, perhaps he won't get a chance. xMatty caught up, locked down, can't use his ultimate in time, and he is shut down by 113. 4th kill in quick succession for the Viego. The Nexus Tower is the target, and Karmine Corp's undefeated record will be squashed today by Vodafone Giants.
Oh, what a game. Vodafone Giants, it looked down to the wire. It felt like after that early mid game, they had it in the bag, but Corp just found so many ways to come back into it. So many team fights, they found the edge, but in the end, it just wasn't quite enough. I think Vodafone Giants, more than anything, learned from their first matchup against them and now have tied their score, will keep that race for first alive.
Yeah, super spicy group now as well. A lot depending on how Mouse and Matchko are able to play in our next game, because Matchko lose that out. If Mouse win, they're in a much closer position, can fight with Vodafone Giants and with Karmine Corp, but it's going to be very difficult for them to do it. Let's see who wins it out after the break. I'm not using it.
He's gonna flash in, and he steals the Baron! How did that connect by Edgeway?
As EU Masters Champions.
Oh, that's the way to start off the day of League of Legends, eh? Glad we had a break because I needed time to get ready for that one. What a banger of a game.
I was so nervous for Giants because I'm like, losing the first game when you were ahead in gold and you get taken down by K-Corp, that's one thing. But if they'll lose again, it would have just honestly been devastating. But they held true, I think, is the critical thing. Obviously, they got that Ocean Soul, which in his extended fights gave them a lot of strength, but it felt like they understood what they needed to do in the team fights, and the composition just performed so well in the later stages of the game.
Yeah, sets them up really well when it comes to qualifying for the quarterfinals as well. If they end up tied with Karmine Corp at the end of the day, I believe we'll have a tiebreaker game because their head-to-head will be a 1-1. And it makes it very difficult for the rest of the group to get through. Matchco and Mouse really need to win basically every game that they have left. Matchco especially, if they're going to make it out. But these team fights were just next level. You could see it was this separate focus. Like Cabochard was always trying to kill Attila, and then 113 was always trying to kill SAKEN or xMatty. And it's like this beautiful like split team fights we saw in this game.
Yeah, and it felt like the priority was definitely there. They understood who they needed to take down. And I think the big thing as well was that when we saw K-Corp come back in the first game last week, it was really down to the fact that we didn't get too many 5v5s. It was more like K-Corp would pick people, and we saw them trying that here with the Twisted Fate ult, but every time Vodafone Giants were like, let's back away, let's kite back, let's disengage, and they just managed to group up, find those 5v5s and deliver in them. And now pretty big to be able to take them down, but I think it shows how scary K-Corp still is as a team. They've been clearly having issues with their early game, but despite that, despite how low the held percentage is, they're still able to be such a threat in the later stages.
Yeah, it does feel like the Herald is a bit of a bait for them, but we'll see if they can clean that up as we get towards the next games of the day. Look at that. 5,500 gold ahead, basically back to even. Oh, that's a Marianne's trench of gold right there.
Yeah, and then they end it straight back, pretty much about the same as their peak once again. It's kind of crazy seeing how much damage that xMatty was able to do in that one. And obviously, you're going to, right? There's a bunch of short-range champions, you're playing Ziggs, but still, the ultimates are just absolutely shredding. I think the Ocean Soul, I'm interested to see how much value that got, because I think against the Ziggs, with those bulky members, it really did a ton.
Oh, definitely. And of course, your damage numbers inflate when you're playing into tanks like Ornn. It's a lot easier to put a lot of damage down when you can just chuck a Q at him like 50 times and he doesn't die. So it's probably why that Ziggs is sitting a little bit higher than you would usually see or you'd see from an AD carry. Of course, up next, we have the other two teams in Group D. Matchco up against Mouse Sports. Make sure you stay tuned.